Okay, so picture this. The economy gets sick, really sick. Well, it turns out there are two very different doctors with two completely different prescriptions for how to fix it. Today, we're diving into the huge debate between Keynesian and neoclassical economics to see how governments try to handle a financial crisis. So which one is right? Let's break it down.
It always starts with signs like this one. During the Great Recession back in '08 and '09, these became just tragically common. You saw them everywhere. Homes lost, businesses shuttered, jobs just vanishing, all symptoms of an economy that is seriously unwell. And that one question, what's the cure? It has sparked one of the biggest, most intense debates in all of modern economics. And it's given us two profoundly different answers, two totally separate prescriptions for how to get things back on track.
Now, to really get this debate, you first have to understand just how bad things can get. During the Great Recession, the economy didn't just have a little cold. No, this was a full-blown raging fever.
Think about this number. By October 2009, 15.4 million Americans were unemployed. To give you some perspective, that was more than double the number from just 2 years before. We're talking millions upon millions of lives turned completely upside down in a blink of an eye.
And the pain just rippled outwards. It wasn't just about jobs. Small businesses, 170,000 of them had to close their doors for good. And families, well, they got scared. They stopped spending, cutting back by nearly 8%. It created this vicious downward cycle that was incredibly hard to break.
So, staring into the face of this massive crisis, our first doctor enters the scene. This is the hugely influential British economist John Maynard Keynes, and he came in with a pretty radical diagnosis and a very, very direct treatment plan. Keynes basically said the root of the problem, the absolute core of any recession, is a massive collapse in what he called aggregate demand. Now, that's just a fancy term for the total amount of spending happening in the economy. When people and businesses get nervous and slam their wallets shut, the whole system just grinds to a halt. This graph right here shows you exactly what he meant. See that YP on the right? That's the economy humming along at its full potential. But then a crisis hits, people stop spending, and that demand curve, the AD, it lurches to the left. Suddenly, the economy is stuck at this new lower point, Y1, and that creates what economists call a recessionary gap. It's the gap between what we could be doing and what we're actually doing. So why does the economy get stuck there? This was Keynes's brilliant insight. He said it's because wages and prices are sticky. In a perfect world, when lots of people are out of work, wages should drop, right? But in the real world, that doesn't happen quickly. People don't like pay cuts. So that stickiness, it prevents the economy from fixing itself. Okay, so what was Dr. Keynes's prescription? It's simple, really. If you and I stop spending, someone else has to step in. And that someone is the government. It has to become the spender of last resort. This is the whole idea behind stimulus checks, big infrastructure projects, anything to pump money back into the system and push that demand curve back to the right. Right, but not everyone bought what Dr. Keynes was selling. There's another whole school of thought, the Neoclassical perspective, and they have a very different diagnosis. Their advice in a nutshell? Be patient. Let the economy heal itself. See, neoclassical economists, they take the long view. They say, hey, zoom out a bit. If you do, you'll see a really clear pattern. Sure, the economy has its ups and downs. Those little wiggles are recessions and booms, but it always comes back to that steady upward sloping line. They call that line potential GDP. And this potential GDP, it isn't based on how much we're spending this month or next month. No, it's determined by the really fundamental stuff, the building blocks of the economy, how skilled our workforce is, our level of technology, our machines and factories. That's what drives real long-term growth. So the core disagreement, it really boils down to this. Where Keynes saw sticky prices that get the economy stuck, neoclassicals see flexible prices, at least over time. They believe that if you just give it a minute, wages and prices will eventually adjust, and that natural adjustment will guide the economy right back to full employment all on its own, no government help needed. So there you have it. Two completely different ways of looking at how the economy works and what to do when it breaks. One side says, act now and act big. The other says, wait, be patient, don't interfere. Let's put these two ideas head to head. This table just lays it all out so clearly, doesn't it? The Keynesians are all about the short run. They see the problem as not enough demand caused by those sticky prices, and they say the government has to jump in.
The Neoclassicals, they're focused on the long run. They think flexible prices will sort things out and that the government should just stay out of the way. For a good while, it really seemed like the evidence was on Keynes' side. Back in the 1960s, economists found this relationship they called the Phillips curve, and it suggested this really simple, predictable trade-off. It was like policymakers could just look at a menu and pick their ideal combo of inflation and unemployment. And look, in the 60s, the data was beautiful. It looked just like the textbook said it would, a nice, clean curve. But then the 1970s happened, and that neat, tidy relationship just completely imploded. The curve broke. The data points just scattered all over the map. It was chaos. The economy got hit by a double whammy, something the simple Keynesian model just couldn't explain: stagflation. That's the absolutely toxic combination of a stagnant economy with high unemployment and high inflation, all at the same time. And this crisis, it gave a major boost to the neoclassical argument.
So if both theories have some good points and some major weaknesses, how on earth do we decide what to do today? How do we choose the right treatment?
Well, the modern view, the consensus really, is a blend of both ideas. This graph shows how the economy can operate in 3 different zones. When output is super low, the curve is flat. That's the Keynesian zone. When output is really high, the curve is almost vertical. That's the neoclassical zone. The right medicine really depends on which zone we're in at any given time. Here's how it works. When the economy is way, way below its potential, think a deep recession, it's in that Keynesian zone. In that situation, government stimulus can actually boost the economy without causing much inflation. But if the economy is already running hot near its max capacity, then it's in the neoclassical zone. And in that case, more government spending will just pour fuel on the fire and create inflation, just like they warned. At the end of the day, this isn't just some dusty academic debate. We're talking about real choices with very real consequences for all of us. The real challenge for any government isn't picking one doctor and sticking with them forever. It's about correctly diagnosing the economy right now in real time. So the crucial question we all have to ask is this: looking at the economy today, which doctor do we need most?